Welcome to my Queen LA podcast entitled Hollywood Pedos and Cultural Appropriation. Why Hocus Pocus is a pedo movie that children should not be exposed to. I know it's Halloween and Hocus Pocus is playing like crazy right now. Like, I know every Halloween they play that movie nonstop. And it's because they always play that movie why I started to notice things about the movie that I never noticed before. Let's start with the cultural appropriation of Nina Simone. The witches in Hocus Pocus didn't put a spell on anyone. According to the plot of the movie, they are too busy drinking and eating children to do so. If they put a spell on anyone, they might as well just put a spell on themselves to not have to eat children. Seriously. Portraying a bunch of white witches reenacting very badly, mind you, Nina Simone's version of I Put a Spell on You does not serve the plot of the movie or does anything for it. The makers simply put that song in the movie to culturally appropriate Nina Simone's music and African American music and culture in general. I've read a lot of articles on the cultural appropriation of Nina Simone, and none have cited Hocus Pocus as an enduring example. Now let's show those witches in Hocus Pocus how it's done.
Put a spell on you. Cause you're mine. You better stop the things you do. I ain't lying. No, I ain't lying.
That's right, I ain't lying. That was Nina Simone's version of I Put a Spell on You. Now let's go ahead and play the Witches of Hocus Pocus's version of the song.
Marvelous introduction. I put a spell on you. And now you're mine. You can't stop the things I do. I ain't lying.
No! Don't listen to them!
Been 300 years, right down to the day. Now the witch is back, and there's hell to pay. I put a spell on you.
Good joke. Happy Halloween. Thanks a lot. No, man, I'm
And
serious.
now
You got to have your head kidding. Have fun. All right. Yeah, cheer up. Let's go, guys.
Hello, sailor. My name's Wilfred. What's yours? I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My planet fell on you, and it was strong. So strong. Your wretched little life have all been cursed 'cause of all the witches working.
Okay, I think I've had enough of that song. Let's get back to the article. It's funny how the so-called iconic moment of the film is one of cultural appropriation. Like, there's nothing iconic about cultural appropriation. Nothing iconic should be culturally appropriated. So I find that rather interesting. Billy Butcherson in Hocus Pocus was actually Screaming Jay Hawkins. This scene right here is the Billy Butcherson scene in Hocus Pocus of 1993. I mean, the reason why I say that is because Billy Butcherson acts and behaves exactly like how Jay Hawkins acts in this live performance of I Put a Spell on You below. But I'm not going to play that right now. Screamin' Jay Hawkins was a legendary rhythm and blues singer whose theatricality involved popping out of a coffin while on stage. Basically, Jay Hawkins was a tremendous influence on the Hocus Pocus movie. Not just the I Put a Spell on You song. If you look at this scene here from the Hocus Pocus movie, this is Billy Butcherson, who was one of the exes of the lead witch. The name of the lead witch was Winifred. So this guy here in the grave named Billy Butcherson, he's supposed to be Winifred. That's the lead witch here. He's supposed to be her ex. Now, she killed him, and that's why he's in the grave. But now, they're trying to get all the children. So she brings him back from the dead to help her and her sisters. Now, Screamin' Jay Hutchins was a legendary rhythm and blues singer whose theatricality involved popping out of coffins while on the stage. So, like I said, they just copied that and made a whole character out of Jay Hawkins. And here you have Billy Butcherson's popping out of the grave, just like Jay Hawkins did in his live performances. According to the Los Angeles Times, the coffin routine started in 1956 at the suggestion of New York disc jockey Alan Freed. Initially, Hawkins was reluctant to get into the coffin, but after Freed offered him $2,000 for the stunt, it became part of the act. So they literally, the creators of Hocus Pocus, they literally just copied Jay Hawkins, character where he pops out of the coffin in his performances. In addition to the fact that Jay Hawkins was the original singer of I Put a Spell on You, the Hocus Pocus witch's rendition of the song was of Nina Simone's version because Jay Hawkins was a male, so most likely their rendition was of a woman that did the song. The most famous one being hers. The most famous, Nina Simone. So let's show Billy Butcherson how it's really done.
Voodoo, Swamp, Boogie, Vlasic. Close. I put a spell on you. Please welcome Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
And that right there is how you come out of a coffin. That's how you do it. Show them how it's done, J. Hawkins. Like I said before, Jay Hawkins was the original singer of I Put a Spell on You. So those witches in Hocus Pocus got nothing on Jay Hawkins or Nina Simone. Know what I'm saying?
I can't stand no putting me down. I put a spell on you. Because you mad. One, two, three. I put a spell on you. Because you're mine. Stop the things you do. What else?
Okay, I think I've had enough of that. But you get what I'm saying. That Jay Hawkins, Screaming Jay Hawkins, was literally the inspiration for Biller Butcherson. They literally just copied Screaming Jay Hawkins' character that he usually portrays on the stage and made a whole character called Billy Butcherson for the Hocus Pocus movie. Literally. Now let's get into it. Why children should not watch Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus is not a children's movie and should have never been written, directed, or produced, and should have been banned. Just because something is marketed as a children's movie doesn't mean it is appropriate for child consumption. The ending of the movie, for example, only proved that children from the beginning that the children from the beginning of the movie were successfully eaten by the witches. Witches that eat children? That's disturbing. How was that a thing? Remember, evil only exists as long as people stand by and do nothing for witches to have been eating children in the first place, and it to be the norm throughout the entire course of that horrible film. Adults not believing children is used as an acceptable excuse to have children running around trying to stop child-eating witches. Not a child's fight, and should be the responsibility of adults. And why wasn't it? Other than the perverted writers know how dumb many adults can be, and that they don't do anything about anything but allow evil to run amok. The boy and his little sister from the beginning of the movie were not saved. And as a child growing up and watching that movie, I only cared about the boy and his little sister from the beginning of the movie. Instead, the movie just dragged on, and we only saw them again at the end of the movie, where the movie makers wanted to prove that the witches did in fact eat them. Well, the boy remained a cat forever, but the fact that he and his little sister turned into ghosts at the end tells you that he might as well have been eaten too. The writers were trying to show how much power that adults have over children in a negative manner, that the little boy couldn't do anything about staying a cat forever. Good is how you overcome evil, so it's unlikely that he couldn't do anything other than the perverted writers just wanted to exploit the powerlessness of children and the innocence too while they're at it. They're implying that children are powerless and they can be exploited at will. Never mind that responsible adults are supposed to be making sure that doesn't happen. Also, children movies are supposed to always have a strong sense of hope, and this movie was nothing but hopelessness and despair. Specifically, the ending of the movie, which was far from a happy or hopeful ending. The best children's movies are the ones that are also family movies and have that strong sense of hope. Also, I wasn't entirely convinced that those witches were put away for good and wouldn't return again to eat the spirits of children. After a century, granted a candle is lit by a virgin. This allusion to child virginity only tells you one thing, and which is that this movie was written by a straight up pedo. Here, let me go ahead and play that scene.
Stupid cat!
Okay, Max, you've had your fun. It's time to go. Come on, Allison.
Max, she's right. Let's go.
Oh, come on. It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Max, I'm not kidding this time. It's time to go. Max, no!
Uh-oh.
So we all know what happens after that. He lit the candle, and because he's a virgin, after he lit the candle, the witches are now brought back to life. Like, why is that in the movie? Can somebody explain to me, why do you need to have that in the movie? It's disgusting to say the least. Another reason why this movie should have been banned and pulled from the market. This allusion to child virginity only tells you one thing, and that this movie was written by a straight up pedo. It should have been banned and pulled from the market just for that scene alone, much less the rest of it. The makers should be investigated, arrested as fit, etc. Let's say that sex is a spiritual act. What's so special about a virgin that one has to light a candle? What's so special about a child virgin, that an underage virgin, that one has to light a candle for the witches to be brought back to life? It's simply perverted writing. There's no way around it. Then they're putting that into a movie like they purposefully want kids to be exposed to the concept of virginity in a perverted kind of way where they're supposed to care. Like, that's the last thing children are supposed to care about. Yet, they put it in a children's movie. I mean, exposed to the concept of virginity, period, which everybody knows is the opposite of sex. Someone that has not had sex before. Like, how is that even in a children's movie? That's what the meaning of virginity is. It's a complete opposite. You know, it's a complete opposite of someone that has had sex. So why does any reference to sex exist in this movie at all? A Disney movie at that. A channel for children. Now, I'm going to read some of the quotes in Hocus Pocus that reeks of pedo. Like, these quotes are pedo quotes, and I don't even know how this movie plays every Halloween and people don't even notice it. Like, look at this quote. We must find the book, brew the potion, and suck the life out of the children of Salem before sunrise. Like, I smell children. You know, I've always wanted a child, and now I think I'll have one on toast. Like, that is so perverted, and it's so pedo. Look at the next quote. It's a little girl. 7, maybe 8.5. Ooh, let us play with her. Come, little children. If this isn't pedo talk, I don't know what is. Look at the other quote. Such a pretty little child. Look at her, and she's so well fed. Isn't she plump? Plump. That's just more pedo talk. These are quotes from the movie. Boys will love me. Like, that's still pedo talk. That's a pedo that loves little boys. It's disgusting. And the scary thing about this is that these aren't even the only pedo quotes that's in the movie. There's like more quotes. There's more pedo quotes in Hocus Pocus. Like, these are just a few that I found. I mean, if I wanted to find everything, I would have to watch the whole movie, and that movie is so awful I can't even sit down to watch it. See, the writers get to hide their satiation by making the witches say those lines, so their pedo ways can safely be hidden. You know, complete with the costumes, the smoke, the cauldrons, which all serve to hide the true intentions of perversions. So Hocus Pocus can be celebrated every Halloween for decades to come. You know, many times society teaches us to not follow our instincts or our intuition. You know, when children follow their intuition, then they have no genuine interest in that Hocus Pocus movie. And it has only been shoved down their throats and is another form of child mental abuse through the media. Through media. That movie makes me sick every time I watch it. I'm reminded of it. And it shouldn't be viewed by children, even with an adult. Like, that's my opinion there. Like, most adults don't even notice how pedo the movie is. One can infer that Hocus Pocus is just a pedo movie about eating children. In other words, a pedo wrote Hocus Pocus. It has to be. You can tell how much of them are in Hollywood just by the content of a lot of these movies. You know, people act like that Cuties movie on Netflix was the first, like, pedo movie. Like, that's not the first one. That one is the most obvious one. You know, Hocus Pocus, that's a pedo movie. It's not as obvious as Cuties on Netflix, but that's been going on in Hollywood for a long time, and it's sick. See, Hollywood, they're trying to control your mind and your thoughts. So don't let them do that to your kids. Don't let them do that to your children. You know, movies is just one way they try to control your mind and try to normalize this, you know, pedo thing. You know, it's disgusting, and adults, we need to take a stand. And that's why I wrote this article. So like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about this. And thank you for listening.
One, two, three. I put a spell on you. Because you're mine. Stop the things you do. What else? Because